Hey everybody, welcome back to the HoloNet Marauders podcast and HoloNet Marauders Live. I'm AJ, joined here by my bomb bed, Wookiee-loving Jedi.
That's me.
And Mando.
Apparently.
Jamie, Matt, and Jack. How you guys doing?
Hello.
I'm good. I'm still not used to that intro, and I'll never get used to it. And we still have, what?
I'm too used to it.
10
this time
episodes
I
left
was.
of Bad Batch?
Well,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
This is the first time I was used to it. And I love that it ends with the Will Smith meme. That just makes me so happy every time.
Oh, that's the best part.
Keeping it in check. But I mean, Matt, you say we obviously have like 10 more episodes of the Bad Batch, but we're not going to do like the live stream.
Right.
Again. Until like next week we will. But
okay.
Oh, yeah.
But then we're switching to Mando.
We'll tell you after the show.
Anyway,
isn't that 3 more weeks?
Logistics.
Mando isn't until the beginning of March.
There will be
There
will be HoloNet Marauders content. I don't even know what day it is right now. The only thing I know is it actually is Thursday as we're streaming this. But
yeah, it is indeed Thursday.
Other than that,
but
what are we even talking about?
We're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 6 of the Bad Batch, Tribe.
Fancy, look at that.
And before we get started, I wanted to say happy Star Wars Podcast Day. It's not today, but it's next week. And this is like our episode, which will be for next week. And yeah, we got invited to be part of that again. So,
all right.
So however many years ago today, I should have looked into this, but it was the first Star Wars podcast was in the second week of February or first week of February. And yeah.
Yeah, so
we are in 2023.
We'll pop links in the description below. But for Star Wars Podcast Day, it was the first official Star Wars podcast. I believe it was called Jedi Talk, something like that, if I'm remembering correctly. This is the third year that we've done it, and we can't remember all the information each time. But we have taken part each year that they have held this anniversary of Star Wars Podcast Day. So happy to celebrate again this year. And all the podcasts.
In honor of Jedi Talk, this is Marauder Talk.
Oh,
this episode here.
Gunji Talk.
Would you look at that?
Wow. that was a good Wookiee. Do it again. That was great.
Wookiee.
No, I can't.
All right.
Yeah, can you do a good Wookiee?
Nope.
The first one was like a train.
Really,
it was better than me.
Nail it. But that's like 6 different animal noises stitched together. So like, I don't feel like
I can do Mark Thompson's Wookiee. Mark Thompson, when he does the audiobooks, he has to do Wookiees, and sometimes he just goes like it's like, oh my god, Mark, what are you doing?
Sounds like Squidward trying to swallow the fork.
Painful, honestly. My first audiobook experience was the Thrawn trilogy, and like there's a big subplot on Kashyyyk at one point.
Oh, no.
And it almost turned me off at one point because I'm like, this is getting really to be a lot of Wookiee dialogue, and Mark Thompson's selling it, but I don't know, man.
He's trying his best. He can't replicate 6 animal noises at the same time,
right? But like I definitely like got those vibes of just like being in a more social setting on Kashyyyk.
I love being on
usually
Kashyyyk.
Get to see.
Yeah,
right.
I love Kashyyyk. It's funny because I'm on the part of Fallen Order where I'm playing on Kashyyyk, and I was like, oh.
It's too bad we didn't get to see any Weeshak, whatever the big bulbous spidery boys.
The big bulbous spider boys.
I thought that's what we were gonna see. Yeah,
I thought so too.
Me too. But instead, we thought we saw the one that I was kind of hoping we'd get to see.
Yeah,
that's a Kinrath.
The Kinraths
from KOTOR.
Yeah, the spiders.
Yeah, you fight them on
Dantooine
and Kashyyyk, but really cool.
They're the worst.
And like funny to see that like they've changed it up so like they're a little more chill. Convenient that.
What is it with Star Wars and creating the most terrifying spider creatures imaginable? Those things, the stupid spider things in Rebels, and Mando.
Better things in Mando.
God, yeah, the ice spiders.
The ice spiders are just awful.
Yeah,
what are we doing? The what?
The Eisters.
The
Yeah, the
Eisters,
Eisters.
yeah.
I think the Bad
then
Bat. No, the
Even the Acklay.
Acklay,
These
yeah.
ones kind of looked like
Acklay,
Acklays,
he's
if you
fine.
notice.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it looked like a praying mantis, like with like the back of it, so like kind of like an Acklay. I thought that was funny.
Except it had like an arm
sure.
mouth. I don't like arm mouth. Not a
Yeah,
fan of
well,
that,
that's-
whatever the hell that was.
It's very consistent with how they looked in KOTOR, and
Yeah, no, I
I
know.
think there was even I was looking it up, and there was even like a scrapped Clone Wars episode that was going to take place on Kashyyyk that was going to feature
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love how
well,
they kind of like mentioned it. Like Wrecker's
Yeah.
literally like, "Oh, it won't be like last time," and they all just kind of like look at each other and then just we moved
been a
on.
while since we've been to Kashyyyk.
I,
Ursa.
I loved Wrecker in this episode.
He was great, dude.
There was so
Yeah.
much happening.
I honestly, I might say this is the best. In my opinion, this is the best the Bad Batch, like as characters, have been. Just absolutely loved them in this episode. They were all in on just helping, and I just loved that. I thought that was the coolest thing.
This was because they treated it like a military operation and they knew how to deal with it. Because if you noticed, this entire season they've just been failing everything
They
just
literally failed
spectacularly. They just
Every
cannot.
single thing.
They just cannot do things.
Even their
but
job for Sid in this week was failed.
They failed.
Yeah.
They failed. But in this one, they were able to actually pull it off. I also noticed in this episode, I think this is the first time it happened this season, but like when they start fighting the Trandoshans, the Bad Batch theme is like mixed in, which you never hear unless they're fighting as like a cohesive unit.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure the last time we heard it was like at the end when Crosshair was fighting with them on Camino. So I think it was the first time this season, and I was like, this is good. This is good.
Gunji is part of the Bad Batch, confirmed.
Yes, he is the
Oh,
other
man,
child.
imagine.
I
That'd be
Great.
I'd lose it. I'd lose it.
It'd be freaking awesome.
I have my heart has been so full to take from the comments there, just like with like Omega and Gunji like together. It's just been like so good to see. Like I love seeing them like fighting side by side, you know, the whole clone and a Jedi side by side. And I'm just like, it was like I was getting emotional.
And they're both not their typical types. Wookiees
Yes.
are not typical Jedi, and Omega is definitely not a typical clone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gunji's very
Exactly.
ferocious. Like he did not hold back when he first went after that first group of Trandoshans.
Except for that one time he kicks one instead of slashes them in half. I noticed
That's
they
fair. I
had to
guess he held back a
tamper.
little.
They had to tamper down the lightsaber violence, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they were blasting Trandoshans left and right, and then all of a sudden Gunji's like drawing his lightsaber, runs up to him, and then kicks him in the face. It's like, all right, okay, okay.
Because
I
he
mean,
is
not
a kid.
supposed to hurt people.
Yeah. Well, at the very least, I think they should have just had him deflect all the blaster bolts back at them.
Yeah.
At the very least, kill somebody with your lightsaber that way. But
Yeah.
he just draws his lightsaber as like a nightlight while he's like, "Oh, time to kick everybody." It's like, okay.
What was up with those tanks? Because they said they had the Empire
They
logo
said
on
they
them,
were Imperial
but
tanks.
they look
They're
just
not.
like the AATs. Or
They were AATs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
They were just
Bizarre.
repurposed AATs with repurposed Trandoshans on them.
Yeah, so like
Yeah.
it's funny.
Recycling.
Like the
Yeah.
hunter decides immediately that they're Imperial tanks. Like he like knows based on like everything, but it's like how do you know that, buddy? When they're clearly not right away. They might have just been like the Trandoshans repurposed. Maybe they've come across it before. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
Did
there's
have the
so
logo
many
on there.
layers to Imperial oppression on
Before
Kashyyyk.
they like found the tanks, though. That's what I mean. Like literally,
Oh, right,
hunters
right.
like looking at the ground, doing what he does. You know, like patting the ground and like sniffing the dirt.
How could he tell from the ground?
That's all he does.
That's what he does.
That's all
No,
he
I know,
does.
but the tanks
But-
hover.
That's his ability.
Yeah, but they
He
just,
can
they just
smell.
the way they
smell
spread the dust. Once
yeah.
you've seen it once, you just never forget.
True.
Hunter's
probably right.
ability is being able to tell what kind of thing skittered across this
Yeah.
path.
He's
Hunter
literally
gets
It
off
left
solid
the
anything
snake.
ship.
behind.
Hunter
Dirt
gets
is
off the ship, and the
misplaced.
first thing he does is lick the ground. And he's like, I know where our mission is. I know what to do.
Tastes like dirt.
Mm.
Got it.
Yeah.
Maps. Tech says in season 7, maps are wrong. Hunter never is. So,
There you
but that
go.
being said, Gunji does end up leading them out to this camp. So,
Like he has the force. That's like cheating.
sure.
Very true.
Uh,
To go back to the beginning of how they failed Sid's little job there of bringing, what was it? The chain codes, the counterfeit chain codes to the Vanguard Axis droids,
Vanguard
Some-
Axis
some
droid.
cartel of droids.
I love
Yeah,
it.
some cartel. And you know, I in the Afra comics, they had a cartel of droids. And I
I
went
love
back
that.
and I read that to see if they were the same. They aren't, unfortunately. But
There can be multiple divisions
There's
of
a lot of
rogue droids.
They've been putting in a lot of droid factions. I forget what was it. Was it a book or a comic or something? Somebody mentions the droid Gatra. I forget where that's from, but that's like another like hardcore like droid like gang.
Yeah, droid gang is just such a cool concept. Like,
there's like so many of
these
them.
guys. I love it.
And again, it's perfect.
Fully self-sufficient.
Gunji could slash them up all he wanted, and it was no problem. So we got some of that.
What
Their
kind
heads
of
reminded
droids
me
were
of
they?
They
T3.
kind of looked like a combination of like L3 and
Got the buck teeth.
Definitely more L3. But...
L3 and Ned B. To me, that's what they look like, a
Ooh.
combination of the two of them somehow.
Ned 3.
There you go.
It works.
This T3 has a taller head, so that makes more
Yeah,
sense. Yeah, L3 is definitely a closer match.
The head was like flat, like L3's was on top, but like the body kind of looked more like Ned B. And plus, they were pretty tall.
Kind of looked like their head. Now that I think of it.
I mean, I guess.
Go back and look. It was
vapid.
flat, just like them.
Chad says that Dr. Afra deals with the Gatra. Okay. That makes sense, I guess. The droid Gatra.
Okay.
That's a cool concept that hasn't really been explored either.
Also, Anonymous mentioned, I don't know. So, is there internet that, or I don't know if that's a joke or if we're coming in.
Coming in spotty.
So
I'm not having any issue.
I mean, like, there's a chance it's about to get like really cold in like in Massachusetts. So, like, who knows? We might just like
they meant literally
drop off the face of the earth here.
Yeah.
Bundling up after this.
But the batch fails once again. They don't get their money from the job. They have $0.
Utter failures.
Roll it back though. I love how this job was. Tech must have said at some point, I can make counterfeit chain codes.
Yeah.
And then he's out there. Oh yeah, because he did it before. He's out there manufacturing these chain codes and Sid is selling them to people.
It would seem to me this would be a reasonable source of profit. We should explore this.
Yeah.
There you go. And he can do it better than the droids can. The droids are hiring humans to like forge code. Okay.
They don't know where they came from. And then Tech's just like, oh yeah, well, I did it myself. And these droids are just like, we don't know who you're are. So
who gives a crap?
I absolutely love that Tech is like, don't worry, I made them. You don't have to check them. And it's like, what are you talking about?
They don't know
well, it's very much the kids' version of like the money's all there, or like the stuff's good. You don't have to test it.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. But then I love how that entire thing escalates where like they get like the droids get the call that like there's like blaster fire and the rest of it, and they just leave them in like this room and they're all just like, God, it's Echo and Omega. It's most likely Omega.
Yeah.
I compared it to like Drake and Josh when they're like, Megan.
Omega.
That's perfect. Drake and Josh, check.
Chad, did you make your bonus card? I know, or bonus bingo card.
Did you make your bonus bingo card?
You make your bonus chain code card.
Yeah.
So Omega hears a noise, right? Says, hey, something's off here.
Omega hears a noise. The series.
That sounds like someone getting attacked.
Yeah.
And then finds Gunji being, beat up or something, corralled, I guess, into a crate or something. And she saves him. And my question is, does Gunji owe Omega a life debt now?
Gunji is a Jedi and is not familiar with the ways of his people, and would not be familiar with the idea of a life debt.
Yeah, that's the answer we were looking for, probably.
Yeah.
Now he's on Kashyyyk, and he's going to learn about it, and then he's going to go after the Bad Batch, and he's going to join them. No. And he's going to be part of
guys,
perfect.
Guys, I just heard about this thing.
He's gonna run up to them. He's going to be.
And they're gonna
be like, Tech has to
translate. Just yelling at him.
Everyone's just gonna be like,
with his buck tooth.
I love Gunji's little snaggletooth. So like we knew this episode was gonna be like coming up because it was like really clear since it was called Tribe. And so AJ and I like rewatched like the arc from the Clone Wars with all of his little friends, and I'm very curious to find out where all of them went. Especially
Pietro.
Like the little Ithorian. Like I want to know where he went. But like I'm so happy that it was Gunji because like he is such a unique character for the first off fact he is a Wookiee, which is so rare.
Yeah, Wookiee Jedi.
And it's just this was a perfect little like add-in, and it was just such a good little mini redemption for like the batch as well to help him. And it also was super important of just like showing how like kind of like the Jedi are wrong when they just like take children and they just strip them of their culture,
Oh yeah.
because once they get to Kashyyyk, like Gunji says, or Omega asks him, "Oh, is this like, do you know where like the village is where you're from?" And Gunji's pretty much just like, "No, I've never seen it before, like only in dreams." And I love how it's translated into he's only seen it in dreams, because it goes back to, it makes it a sequel reference, when Rey says that she saw Octo only in dreams. Yeah, exactly.
I see it.
I see the island.
I see the island.
That's like my favorite Kylo Ren quote. By
You're
the
my
way,
guest.
That's the. You're my
you were my
guest.
guest.
Dude, Kylo Ren is so good in that. Oh, don't even get me started on TFA Kylo Ren. Oh, I love him.
But yeah, it goes back to just like the Jedi stripping children of their identity, and they have no idea like where they came from and what they're going to do. So I love how it is this learning experience for Gunji. So he's going to learn how to be a proper Wookiee now. Like obviously he can like speak like Shuriwook because he can't speak anything else, but like
no offense to Gunji, but he probably picked the worst time in galactic history to learn how to become an authentic Wookiee.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So to
That's
circle
not
back
a time
fully,
you want to be a Wookiee.
Yeah.
to circle back fully to AJ's question, does he owe Omega a life debt? No, but I agree with
But
Jack.
yes.
He doesn't know it yet, so he's going to learn about it, and it would be cool if he somehow comes up again later. But like, he probably won't.
Please.
Yeah.
I mean, God, this episode is just totally steeped in just like depression. If you actually give it any thought, like, first of all, Gunji's all alone, which probably means all of those kids in that episode are gone, right? Either dead or all split up and alone, which is just even, just as sad. He spends the entire episode depressed and alone, sitting in the corner with his head in his knees. That was like heartbreaking to me. And the whole victory at the end is, he gets to live with the Wookiees on Kashyyyk. 18 BBY, the right before the storm, like right before the entirety of Kashyyyk is inundated and every Wookiee is enslaved. It's like that's just such a depressing thought.
He's got to get out.
I think they owe us a follow-up. I think Lucasfilm after this episode owes us a comic or something where an adult Gunji is like,
where is Gunji?
Hey,
is he safe?
I mean, like this.
Right.
This would be a perfect way to tie in eventually in the future some sort of live action business. If they wanted to bring like Omega into this, they could also bring up Gunji somehow. Like that would be really cool. If down the road that's just like brought up. I don't know. There's so many shows happening.
Skeleton
Who knows?
Crew.
It's not gonna happen. Skeleton Crew.
Oh, I just remembered some of those set pictures from the Acolyte. If anybody knows what I'm talking about.
Hey, that's before all this though.
Hey. I'm just saying they have a Wookiee costume. That's all I'm saying.
Who do we think the buyer was for Gunji? They mentioned they had a buyer. They didn't want to injure him because they have a buyer.
And
we probably won't find out who it is.
Waste their time paying for anyone.
They knew he was a Jedi as well. Clearly,
I'm going to say Grak is
the
Hutt. I'm going to bring it all back to good old Grak.
I'm going to go Dryden Voss.
Dryden Voss.
Or who was the Roland Duran?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Here we go.
That's it.
It's gonna pay off.
Bring him back. Yeah, Lucasfilm, you owe us for wasting our time. Bring him back.
Ooh, Hondo, because Hondo did want.
Hondo does buy the children.
Look, that was a one-time thing,
and
I don't think they're ever going to depict one of the mascots of Galaxy's Edge buying children.
No.
I don't think.
Listen, I only did a little bit of slave labor. It's fine.
Dude,
that was just one time.
Honestly,
just one time. Look, I made a lot of good money.
I don't.
Watto there for a second.
I know.
I would
Watto versus Hondo.
Wando.
Wando.
What do you know?
Wait, Watto is apparently Hondo just constipated.
Wow, that was a good Watto you did. That was a good Watto.
Nubian.
I'm panicking.
Nubian.
The line. I'm sad that the Katarns didn't make an appearance. They had a perfect opportunity to give us a proper Kashyyyk lizard creature that we have not gotten to see on canon. Yes, who is named after Kyle Katarn.
Hey, everybody, we
Very
got Kyle Katarn in
It's
there.
humid.
A relevant one.
Jesus Christ, it's cold in here. That's what he says. This is his famous Kyle Katarn line.
That's gonna be
What,
next
Jamie?
week
You were
then.
saying something?
I don't even
Yeah.
remember. I literally have no idea what I wanted to
Gunji eating
say.
the food,
Oh yes.
and Wrecker
okay.
gives him the churro.
Look, yes. So, I said earlier this episode that in this episode of the Bad Bad Sean, there's huge for Wrecker. I loved. But before we get to that, I think I mentioned this before. A big storytelling thing is always, sharing meals with someone is coming together. That's just like how it goes. And so Omega is like going out of her way to make sure that like Gunji is taken care of, and she gives him this like bleach bottle like full of water, and then like this like full like tackle box food. That's what that bottle looked like. If you look at it again, that's what it looks.
Juiced it out a few times. It's fine.
It's fine. It's fine.
That's
There's some
good.
chemicals in it last week. It's fine. But she gives him the food, and like it takes a while for him to like come around, but like he does take it, and I love just like seeing the food again, of seeing like the burritos and like the little like pickles and like the little like breadsticks. If you notice, like while Gunji is eating, Wrecker is also like snacking the entire time. And so this also, once they get to Kashyyyk, Wrecker is about to eat something else. This is all in the background. Wrecker is about to eat something else. Gunji is just like staring at it. Wrecker notices, and he just gives it to him immediately. He doesn't
Wrecker's
like
the
think
best.
twice. He just gives it to him. Now, if you look back like last season, he's more than ready to take Omega's food, and Hunter's like, no, you can't do that. And so like it just shows his
He's
growth
grown.
there, that like
Character arc.
he's willing to share his food, and like Wrecker wouldn't do that for anyone.
I have to
He's
say,
also
Wrecker's
totally down to
soup
just-
arc
Hey.
was just so good in this.
The
in this
soup arc.
episode.
Okay.
The soup arc was just brilliantly handled.
Do
Brilliantly.
we
Echo
think
soup
it's
arc?
soup? Do we think it's soup, or do we think it's some sort of like Wookiee booze?
Why not?
It
both?
reminded me like moonshine.
Yeah,
Ooh,
my first
Hmm.
reaction was that it was some sort of like Wookiee like moonshine,
I had not even thought of that.
Which
I
was
hadn't
why-
even considered
which was
that.
why
Oh,
like
it was just
Echo was
soup.
just like, because
Oh yeah, sorry. It was Echo's soup.
Echo was
arc.
like, no, I don't want any of that. Like initially, we have like an Echo denial of wanting some food. Like that's why I thought it was booze, because like Echo's like no, and Wrecker's just like pounding it. And then later in the episode, he's out there like howling like with the Wookiees, and so I thought he was like drunk.
You're sitting there watching
big
this
guy.
episode going, Wrecker's drunk off his ass.
Wrecker's gotta eat.
And then later on, they're all like celebrating by drinking it. So that's why I thought it
And
was.
Echo's like, this isn't half bad.
That's why, yes.
And Gunji's pounding him down.
Oh, yeah.
Holy
So
crap.
that's why I thought it was like moonshine or something.
It's like
not
France,
soup.
you know.
All right,
Oh,
soup
no.
or moonshine? Like this is a serious question.
I don't think it was
so-
soup.
I'm on
Put
soup.
the
I'm
poll
on
up.
soup.
I'm on
Come on.
soup. I think it's
I
soup.
gotta look again. It looked like they were
just
drinking
really
it out of
like
like a
soup, you
shell.
guys.
They were drinking it out of like a bowl, and then they were like scooping it in with like a shell or
Hey.
they were basically Dumbledoring
It was
it.
like
They
a
were
punch
scooping it
bowl.
out with a stupid shell.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
You
Yeah.
must drink all of it, Professor. I can't.
It's Echo.
Please
Okay.
don't make me-
No.
I don't want to. Just let me do it.
He's just like thrashing around with like the
Second-
scomp. Poking
second week
someone's
in a
eye out.
row.
Dude, love the scomp. He was typing with the scomp. Like he was
Press
literally
the
pressing
buttons.
buttons with it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
love that. I love seeing him do that.
So
Sorry.
second week in a row, we have Echo drinking. So the drink count for Echo is soup. If he's drinking it and it's soup, is it still drinking?
Yes.
Or is you can't
Like
drink soup?
You
You
can
sip
you?
sip soup,
Soup's
but
a
you
meal.
also sip a beverage, so I would consider that acceptable.
Okay, so
Yes.
drink count is at least 2 or 3 now.
Yeah.
And when Gunji gets the food, he sniffs it. So we have our first sniff
Gunji-
count of season 2.
Gunji sniff count.
Finally,
One
we
Gunji
got it.
sniff.
in this place.
So
One
Echo's
Gunji
sniff
sniff.
count for season 1 was 2 sniffs.
I don't remember.
Gunji's at 1 sniff. So
Can I
Just
just
Probably
the
gonna
say,
stay
standings.
there. Bet money says he's gonna stay there.
I'm very mad at
Probably.
this episode because I've called him Gunji this whole time. In the original episode in which he is introduced, they all call him Gunji, but everybody seems to call him Gunji. So today I made a big stink, or yesterday I made a big stink about this episode. I was like, all right, they're gonna call him Gunji. Watch, and then freaking Hunter is like, oh, his name's Gunji, and I'm sitting there like,
hey, that's the accent.
buddy,
Listen.
buddy, look.
That's the
In
accent.
the Clone Wars
Gunji.
episodes, we just rewatched it. A couple of them do say Gunji, but most of them say Gunji. So that's that. And it goes back to saying, like, names are pronounced funny in Star Wars all the time.
Yeah.
This is just how all the clones pronounce it. So
Yeah.
So Dylan, our good friend Dylan's in the chat. Haven't seen him in a while. How's it going, Dylan? He brought up, does the main Trandoshan slaver there with the flamethrower get strung up by the spiders? He
God,
deserved it. But like,
I was
there's
gonna
been
say, there's
some,
no such thing as brutalizing slavers.
there's been brutal
You
deaths
can
this.
brutalize slavers just fine.
That's like a PG death compared to that's supposed to be considered a PG death compared to like stabbing someone with a lightsaber, which has happened so many times in Star Wars. And yet we have to visualize a man being taken away to be eaten alive by a bunch of spiders. Like, I'm sorry, just because it's not on screen doesn't make it better.
Remember, kids.
There's been
don't
some
own
brutal
slaves.
deaths
So-
this season.
Yeah.
Wilco, episode 1 off the bat, or episode 2, and
For sure.
guy in the crowd. I keep going back to.
Wilco,
crowd.
guy in
Guy in the crowd
crowd.
got messed
You
up.
That was
see
kind of
him
a
in
hot
your
hot
dream.
death, though.
You're waking up in the middle of the night going, guy in the crowd.
It
Oh
was
my God.
tough.
Just
Hope
like
they got him into a back to tank.
waking
Oh,
up
man.
like
Oh,
you
they
felt
did.
like you got shot yourself.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
like-
the guy in the dream.
It's
Wait,
like
I'm having
you're
fun
Kylo
watching
Ren
Riot Racing.
and Ray's shooting you in the chest, and then he like
Yeah, guys.
what?
I have some. Yes, I love how Hunter
What
like
was your
went out of
thought?
the way to like say say that he like can like translate it a little bit, but then like Tech is like over his shoulder the entire episode actually translating. So he knows enough, but not enough.
That's the coolest thing about
Right.
Tech's little helmet. His little visor thing he has there.
Yeah.
In the
That
Bad
was
Batch
cool.
arc, we got to see it like in first person translating. So that was cool.
And it
Right.
spoke it back, which was like
Yeah.
backwards and like that was interesting. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Good
You
job.
seemed like you had some
Trandoshan.
kind of revolution. You were like,
I did.
"Yeah,
Oh, yes, I did. Guys, I'm pretty sure Gonki is dead. Like,
Oh no.
I wish I hadn't reminded you."
We just
I-
haven't seen the interior of the ship properly.
We
We
have.
did today.
we have. If Gonki was still kicking, he would have been walking around with everybody. Like, he would have been
Might have
next
been
to
sleeping.
Omega and No, he would have been next to Gunji and Omega, just like hanging out. Like,
Gonki's
I'm-
at the farm.
So he sacrificed himself when he
Yeah,
did that power surge?
I'm pretty sure that was it. They could not bring him back, and I'm absolutely gutted from it. I
can't
came to that
believe that
realization
wasn't-
earlier today that
I wish
I'm
that had given more weight.
pretty sure he's dead. Oh,
in memoriam 2023.
Gonki, no. Oh, that's
Gonki.
depressing.
That should have
so
been given
sad.
more weight. They should have given him a proper burial.
But then
Well,
next week, somehow
Speaking of weight,
Gonki's
Feet,
returned.
feet,
He was
feet
the
top.
weight.
Yeah. watch me like eat my words next week. Gonki will be back.
I hope
Okay.
you do. I hope you eat those words.
You gotta
I hope you
wish
eat them
that
like
into the universe.
Echo
This
eats
is how
the
we do
soup.
it.
Hope you
Echo eats the
guzzle
You
guzzle
better
those
sniff
words
those
down.
words.
Yeah,
You better sniff those words.
you better. Better right now.
Oh,
He's
man.
coming back.
Someone
Gonki's
with
not dead.
synesthesia.
He's alive. He's
So-
fine.
What was with? We got the couple of clones working with the Trandoshans there as part of the Empire. It was only like a few clones, right?
Yeah.
And did we get any funny clone names? I don't think they mentioned any of
No.
their names.
Funny clone names.
They were
I'm
just
sure we
like
get something.
random clones. They weren't
What was it?
anything.
What was the name of the main Trandoshan guy? It was funny. I thought that was funny.
It was like Vasimir.
No,
Vaseline.
Viso something. Vizomar.
Vazomar.
it just sounded like it's one of those like Grievous names where it's like some savage oppress or like
Yeah, it-
just like one of those like ridiculous like Darth Icky or something like that.
Tiki.
Darth Icky. It was either Basomir or Vasomir. I know that because it kind of sounded Lord of the Rings.
Venomore.
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 That's
Just looked it up.
It sounded
That's
like
a good
Venom-
name.
reminded me of Venomore.
Venomore.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, that's good. Check that off, guys.
Venom.
Venom / Spider-Man. Very good.
Woohoo.
We're getting there.
Gotta start banging on the metal pipes if you guys do that again. Jeez.
Yeah, you do.
Get out
So-
of here.
We see the little. We talked about the little Wookiee village that they find, and do we find out the head Wookiee's name there with the bathrobe or the poncho?
The poncho? Her name is Yana.
Yana.
That's what
Yana.
I was gonna say.
She was
Which
Right.
is not a very, I don't know.
Wise
feel like
woman.
I feel like they were on lunch when they came up with that name. Come up with a better Wookiee names are fun.
Yama.
Yana's
You
cute.
have a bunch of Y's in
I
there.
don't know.
Yama.
2 N's.
2 N's, Yann.
I don't know. Maybe it's short for something. Like Chewie's short for Chewbacca, so like
That's true.
knows?
Yan Baka.
I ain't
Yeah.
calling you that every time.
Baka.
exactly. I don't know. I thought that was very cool to show that like they have like this like wise woman leading their like little group here, and I loved everything we like learned about the Wookiees, because like we know that the Wookiees are like deeply connected to Kashyyyk and to the natural world of Kashyyyk, and so it was really cool to like see that in practice more of them just going to the trees immediately, and that was just very cool to see Gunji experience for the first time as well, because it was something he had never experienced, even though he was a Wookiee, or not that he could remember at least. And I loved Yana greeting him, because she like does like the little traditional greeting, and he's just kind of like stiff as like a board, just like, oh my god, what is happening? And then he just kind of like realized what was happening, and he went with it, and it was very good. Very good to like see that being put into place.
Yeah, I agree. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. I don't remember.
I like that, Jamie, you mentioned like the nature of Kashyyyk and everything. And something I thought of was, you think Gunji's going to defeat Venomir in that moment, or someone is, but I like that the spiders took him, that the Kinrats took him.
Yeah.
Because like it's nature taking him, rather than, because they were destroying the planet, and they're only going to destroy the planet even more. So
I mean, they also like planted the concept in earlier. The first time they see those spiders is Gunji says to the batch, they're only going to act if we act against them. And so Gunji like knows, hey, I'm just going to let the spiders take care of this, because it's not something that I should weigh on myself. And he's letting nature kick back there, and it's good. Call it the spiders.
I'm glad they weren't scary looking spiders.
They were scary looking spiders.
No.
What's the matter with you?
They were weird looking.
They're awful.
They kind of looked like they look like banana peels with legs.
Yep.
I think for someone who like, from what I understand, like most of the time, like arachnophobes, like it has to actually resemble a spider in order to elicit the fear. So like those are like more crab-like to me. Like with the, like I said, they have
the arm mouth. Nobody cares about the arm mouth. I care about the arm mouth. That's
an alien.
Unsettling.
It's a great design.
I don't mind. I don't mind it.
10 out of 10.
I like the design. It's great.
11 out of 10.
Fair enough.
It makes me uncomfortable.
A few people have been bringing this up in the chat. We're back at this, I guess. Do we think
I said it
Omega
last
is force
year,
sensitive?
2 years ago. I don't think she is.
I still don't think she is.
I don't.
It'd be cool, but I don't know.
It's very questionable if you can even clone a force user and replicate the midichlorians. Like I still think that's contentious.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with Palpatine. Like, that was the whole thing that prevented him from.
It's hard to do.
Took him 40 years.
Yeah.
The only certainly weren't going to be winging it with Omega on Kamino and just like stumble into it.
She was the one they got right.
And then he doesn't know, and he's like, damn it.
She's just like, the last one they could make out of the.
All these little girls getting away. All I want is some of their blood.
Not today, you creepy old man. Get out of here.
Some of your blood.
Teach you this lesson, old man.
Yeah, I still don't think that she's force sensitive. I don't think it'll like result that way. I think that if anything, maybe like I don't think she'd be like Jedi level force sensitive, but think of like how like Maz is like connected with the force. Like she's not a Jedi, but she knows how to listen.
But I
think that's something that possibly like Omega might learn to do, because that is her thing. She's very observant and she copies behaviors very quickly. And I don't think that necessarily means she's force sensitive. I think that just means she's very observant and she's very adaptable. And she's still like learning how to like be her best self as well. So I think that it could like develop that way. I think that just with like the right guidance, she'll learn more along the way. But I really don't think that she would be force sensitive, because I really don't think it would add anything to the story.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Find her a lightsaber? Because
it's just like, she has to be a Jedi.
Trained by Gunji.
I don't.
Now we're on Rebels.
Like, yeah, exactly. It would be like someone learning to be a Jedi that way, or it would be like like Leia was force sensitive her entire life, and then all of a sudden she became a Jedi like at the very end, and they gave her a lightsaber, and I wish we got to see that more. But that's different. Think of if that happens to Omega. It would be like, well, hey, I wish that I knew she was a Jedi sooner, so that way she could have all of this time so she could get trained. Like, I don't want that to happen. Like, I want her to not be force sensitive, because I don't want to live through the bullshit of she needs training. I don't want to live through that.
You're also
Mando took 2 seasons just to get him that way. Sorry,
no, you're right. You're just trudging up a lot of Finn for me as well. The whole why wasn't Finn force sensitive from the beginning?
Don't string us along.
Started.
Like I don't think it'll be add anything to the story if she's force sensitive. So that might be an unpopular opinion, but that's
I mean,
what I
No, I
think.
agree.
No,
I
I
agree.
think that's pretty popular.
She has a signature weapon. She has the bow, the electro bow. I don't think she needs a lightsaber or anything else. I think she's got her.
Early on in season 1, it was talked about because there was sort of a mystery around her, and then it was like, oh, she's just their older sister, technically older sister.
Yeah,
and like even Hunter kind of has like a little spidey sense about him. Like last week when there was the thing, like he sensed it early. So it was like, is that force sensitivity? Is that just heightened awareness? What's the difference?
It's like, think of Chirrut Imwe. That's another good example of somebody who isn't quote unquote force sensitive in a way that they can use the force to like move objects or do things, but they're still very much force sensitive in the way that he's blind and he can beat up 10 stormtroopers without breaking a sweat. You know?
He's not like a Mirror Luke, but he can certainly handle himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I think this would be the perfect avenue to explore someone who has an awareness of the Force, but isn't necessarily a Jedi. I think that would be perfect for this because it, again, would be something that sets her apart from the rest of the batch, but isn't something we've seen before. Because again, the Bad Batch is all about things that we haven't seen before in like a clone soldier. And I think that would be more important than just making one a Jedi suddenly. Like,
that's why I kind of always like that theory. I don't think it holds much weight, but the idea that Han might be force sensitive just because he always has bad feelings and he's an incredibly great pilot. It's like,
shoot targets without looking at them. Like
exactly Jedi reflexes. He just happens to not believe in the thing that and I think that would be hilarious if he didn't believe in the thing that made him so skilled.
Made him who he is.
It'd be very Han.
Yeah, I agree.
Every time.
So was this the lost episode from the Clone Wars?
It's an adaptation of it.
What was the original story there, really?
They go to Kashyyyk and there's these big
Trandoshans,
big-eared tigers, and they fight Trandoshans.
Which were in it.
Okay, so it was
the
an
big-eared tigers were in it, and so were the little spider guys, whatever the hell they're called. Kinrath.
Kinrath
is from Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls.
I googled it earlier because I was like, I had to make sure if it was the KOTOR ones as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I like that they're doing that, kind of adapting things from Clone Wars that didn't get to be used. I know we talked about that in our preview of Bad Batch. We still want like
get that Boba Fett
Boba and Cad.
I know it already happened.
Yeah.
Really
do you guys think we'll see
missed opportunity there?
Little off base, but do you think we'll see Cad Bane or Fennec again?
Yeah.
In this episode, in this season,
probably. Maybe
in this episode.
Hondo.
Or Hondo.
I know, there's Hondo.
Yeah.
He'll be Hondo.
I think that we will. I think we'll definitely see Boba and with like Crate's claw and everything, and like the breaking up of that. Maybe I think that could be pretty cool to see because we never really know like what fully finishes up with that. And like plus we have like Daniel Logan posted about it, so like I'm pretty certain that like he's gonna show up in it.
Alpha and Omega need to meet. I mean that's
totally
common sense. You can't introduce that juxtaposition and not do something with it. I think that 100%. Would be just so cool.
Yeah, and everyone wants it. So
of course,
I don't
want to see more.
At the way this season's going, I mean, I don't really know where the season's going because
the way the season's going, who knows?
The way the season's going, the main beats of the season have been the stupid Rampart, not post-credit scenes, but like him hating the clones and phasing them out, and Cody running away. Like that's the main beat, even though it's only been like 2 seconds.
Yeah, we're focusing a lot. Like we know that the main theme is going to focus around like this part where the clones get fully filtered out, and the enlisted soldiers finally take over, and everyone having an identity crisis, Bad Batch included. But like, what we've spent 6 episodes so far, and not a whole lot of time has been spent on that. And like now, after like 3 episodes of non-main plot stuff, I'm ready for some main plot. So let's.
Oh, next week's gonna be a doozy. We get 2 episodes.
I love these episodes.
Before we jump, I think that is interesting that you mentioned it though, because I think that like the main story of the season is actually Crosshair's episode. Like if someone was to just like be like, oh, what do I need to know about the Bad Batch season 2? I would honestly say watch the Crosshair episode. Yeah, and that's it.
Pretty much. Yeah, because it shows that exactly. Yeah,
like that's the meat of the story so far. Because everything else is we're just experiencing like the Bad Batch fail.
Yeah,
but it's
important
that
though, or Bad Batch is bad at being pirates. That's the plot.
Yes, they're learning how to live / experiencing all these failures, which they've never done before. And so is Crosshair. He's experiencing all these failures by like seeing clones disappear around him and you know, being in recovery for like who knows how long after deciding to stay behind like a dumbass.
I know he had
So,
his chance.
like,
Yep.
Yep.
yeah, I would say that was the main
That's
story.
right. Sid might.
Definitely.
The other little thing sprinkled was Sid might
Yeah.
turn them in
I
or
don't
something.
think she's gonna be evil.
She's gonna do
Yeah,
something. She won't be
there's
evil.
the hint that Sid
Yeah.
may be pushed into a corner and be forced to
And have to
double cross
sell
them,
them
which I
out.
think is a
Yeah.
little different.
Yeah.
That's a
I
Lando,
would agree.
You know, that's a Lando.
It'll be a Lando thing.
I think that
Not a
it'll get
DJ
revealed. I think it'll get revealed that she's working for someone with more power, say like Crimson Dawn or something like that.
Well, the Pikes were
and-
there. The Pikes with Roland
Yeah.
Duran. Yeah.
They were angry
Yeah.
at her.
Roland Duran.
And we still
yeah,
have
so I would say she's attached to some broader thing that she owes money to.
the
so.
season 7
I can see that.
Clone Wars. We have the models of Dryden Voss and whoever else was in on that syndicate meeting. with
Pikes.
Maul. Yeah.
Yep.
So
So.
I
haven't
would
used those
love
yet.
Crimson Dawn to show up. Like, oh
That'd
my
be cool.
god.
No.
Oh
That would
really?
be cool.
What was another show where we really wanted them to show up and they didn't, and someone
Well, that
mispronounced
show
the name of the
didn't-
show?
That
Yeah.
show, it didn't make sense.
I ended up with
I agree.
Hey, you know what? Happy
Yeah.
1 year anniversary of Cobb Vanth showing up in the Book of Boba Fett, guys.
that was
Oh
great.
my
Wait,
god.
it's been 1 year since
It's
From the
been-
Desert Comes a Stranger.
Officially
Yeah.
1 year
Wow.
since that.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah.
That's a
Happy
great anniversary.
That was a highlight of the
That
series,
was
of
that
the
was the
It
best
was.
episode of the season by far.
Yeah,
I'm still thinking about that a year later, almost every day.
Yes,
Take it out.
easily.
365.
365 days. Stop thinking about Luke.
I ended up with Suga on my face already, thinking Crimson Dawn was going to show up. So
Yeah.
Oh wow, Ooh, that's a
I-
good
good
one.
face.
I
That's a
think
good one.
I think that there's more of a chance like Crimson Dawn would show up in the Bad Batch than there would in that like post like in that like Mandalorian timeline. So
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
unless they adapt the comic over, like I don't think it's gonna show up in the Mandalorian timeline. So
No,
I
Yeah.
think if you want the Crimson Dawn story, read Crimson Reign and Hidden
Yep.
Empire.
all these things.
That's where you're
That's
gonna
what it's
get
gonna
it.
be.
yeah,
War
and-
Bounty Hunters is a primer.
You know,
Although we get to
Yep.
see
I
Maul
must
again
say,
in
it's
something.
good.
exactly. So like I think that like they would want to like bring back like Maul for something and to show how
Yeah.
he got from where he was in the Clone Wars to just showing up in
Malachor.
Rebels.
Malachor, yeah.
Yeah.
Being stranded there for however long he was there, and going crazy and all that.
Exactly.
Imagine being Ray Park and missing out on all the best content for your character.
Whoops.
Uh,
Yeah.
Sad.
Oh well.
Did
oh well, that's a shame.
Paul Bettany didn't voice any lines for Dryden Voss didn't have any lines in Clone Wars, right? That one
Don't think so.
episode? Yeah,
No,
so
he
that'd
just
be
showed up.
really cool if they get Paul Bettany to come back to do Dryden
would have
because
to-
like he was such like a last minute addition as well to like that in general. Like when they filmed Solo, but Dryden Voss was not supposed to be Paul Bettany. That was like literally like he was like a
He was
third
supposed to
on
be
the
like an
list or
alien.
yeah, and then they were like,
He's
oh my
like, it's
god,
gonna
he-
be-
And Paul
else.
Bettany's
Robert-
like, hey,
Robert
can
De
we not
Niro.
do makeup?
Yeah, he like he like did all of his stuff within like a couple of days, and so they did like minimal everything, and so
Just get D.
Anyway.
Bradley Baker to do the voice.
no, get everyone.
You
come
gave him
on.
everything else.
I think that'd be fun to like include more. So I just you know it'd be cool if they actually use more voice actors and not just like random celebrities.
Yeah,
You know,
the cameos
they
are fun,
only
but
use
love
D. Bradley
cameos.
That's
Baker.
actually
But
a little off topic, but just James Gunn in the DCU, he wants to make sure that like if there's a video game that features like Superman or Batman, that whoever the actor is playing them is voicing them in the game. And I'm like, I don't think that's gonna work, man. 'cause
I'm
that's
sure-
a lot
I'm
of
sure
money.
the-
There's a lot of lines in video games.
I'm sure the
Yeah.
actor who signs on for that role is going to be thrilled. They're going to be making
mean-
10 Superman games. He's going to be stuck in the studio all day.
they
Yeah.
already can't do Batman because Kevin Conroy passed away. So
but going forward,
I know that really hurts.
And they
It does.
already have somebody in
No one
mind for
can replace
Batman
him.
Oh my
who
god!
is not.
But
Ben
anyway,
Affleck
But I'm just
or
saying, like, I agree
Pattinson.
that voice actors have a very specific talent, and there's a
Yeah.
certain skill to like putting that emphasis and emotion into the voice that you can't rely on any visuals, so you have
Yeah.
to make sure it's all sold there without being over the top.
exactly. Like I love a
Lucasfilm.
celebrity cameo, but like
Mhm.
give
Like
me like
Ming-Na
a real person to like do the thing. Like the Ming-Na Wen thing, that makes sense because like she was playing a character that was played in live action, and she also got started by doing voice acting. Yeah, that's a
don't
There you go,
get me
Dylan.
started.
the whole
Bring
Chris
on
Pratt as
Chris
Mario
Pratt.
thing is not. That's your example right there. Just why?
Yeah, that's right.
Kingdom.
That's the better
Tough
example.
one.
This goes back to
Here
like
we
in the past, like we've talked about, like how they're using the whole deep faking thing for people to like celebrities. It's just like just recast, just like get like the extra people. The actors are out there. They
guy
want
that got
they
to
want
body
to do
double
the
Luke
thing.
looked
It's just
exactly like Mark
I
Hamill.
really
boggles my
know,
mind.
did.
plenty, but it really does bother me
It's
that they just
wild.
insist on trying to force us to see the face that they want us to see instead of just finding someone who
What if I don't
resembles
wanna
it
see that?
enough and can act properly.
And
I
they're
want
doing that
Alden
with, like,
back as
Mon
Han
Mothma.
Solo. Give me
I do too.
Solo too. Just
I
give
do
me
too.
Solo too. Like that's what this boils down to.
I'm sorry,
Crimson
guys.
Dawn, Solo 2,
Lucasfilm,
Solo
Enfys
2's
Nest.
if you're
never
listening.
do
happened.
Kathleen
it.
Kennedy, and I know you're watching, you made the wrong lesson. You
came
learned
to
the wrong lesson
Yeah.
from Solo. Okay.
Yeah, you did.
I know
Just make
everyone
Solo
wants
2.
Solo
That's
2.
all I want. I
Make
want
Solo
Solo 2 as a
Just do it.
movie.
You know what? I'll take it as a TV show.
No,
I'll
I
take
want
it
it as a
I'll take
movie.
it in whatever.
If
I'll
it's
take it
Andor
as-
quality,
I'll take it any way I can get it.
I'll take
If
it
it's like
anyway.
Andor, yes.
Yeah, with actual sets.
If it's
like
Obi-Wan
Mando,
Kenobi,
I'm sorry, but no.
Ooh, hard pass.
Just no shaky
I
cam.
would even take it in animation if you get the right people to do it, honestly. So
Mhm.
that would be really
and
cool.
That'd
get
be
Alden
cool.
Ehrenreich to voice Han.
Yeah.
And make it look like holiday special animation where
Yeah.
Han's very squinty.
The long
he-
face.
honestly,
he's got the
I'm just
longest
frustrated.
friggin' face imaginable.
It's so frustrating that we haven't seen Han at all. Like we didn't get to see him all in Rebels. I know I've said this before. I'll say it
Yeah.
again. Wasted opportunity to not have any sort of, not even Harrison Ford, but you could have had Alden do it. And
Yeah.
it would have been fine.
For Rebels?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, would have been close enough.
For anything, yeah.
I think it's a missed opportunity that we didn't get 10-year-old Han Solo in Episode 3.
Just
Just
any
saying.
Han.
The scrappy orphan living on Kashyyyk who helps Yoda find the tracking device that helps defeat the droids. I think that's ridiculous.
Where'd this
What a
kid come from?
Who the hell is this kid? Oh, hey, it's Yoda.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean like
Yeah, but I don't believe in the Force or anything like that. It's all.
Anyway.
And he's a 10-year-old kid and he's saying that.
so
I don't believe in the Force. Yoda.
so
Yeah,
I
deep
love
voice for it
how
somewhere.
I love how the trees made the plan and Hunter's just like, all right.
Dude, Hunter.
The trees can talk.
This is why I said this is the
He's a
best.
hunter.
This is the best episode for the Bad Batch. They were just all in on helping. 110%. Fire starts. Get the shovels. We got to dig.
Like
Yeah, they did
so
that
much digging.
multiple times this episode.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That was cool.
it's because they were in their element. They knew how to deal with helping people and
It wasn't
making
racing
sure.
or nuggets or what was last week?
Giant
treasure
giant
hunt.
mechs.
Well, that's
Giant
why they were
mech.
so good
Giant mech.
at their job
Ancient
before,
mechs.
because they had clear goals and there wasn't any BS underneath that someone was keeping from them and compartmentalizing information. Like they had a clear set mission and they completed it each time. And like with Sid, it's just been like one surprise after another on each of their quests, and it's just like, God damn it, we should have a straightforward mission for once.
This also like had its surprises like throughout. Obviously, like the village is torched.
Trees.
That's a good
I
one.
mean, like we know the trees don't talk on Kashyyyk, but like I wish there was like
Oh, they
ents of
do.
some kind. Like that would have been hilarious.
Imagine
Like,
Ents on Kashyyyk.
oh my
It'd be
god.
awesome.
That doesn't make much sense to me, but
We
again,
have
you are very
decided
small.
We
You-
decided that
Nothing.
to
we'll
talk
about
about
it.
it. But if you notice though, like all the Wookiees like went out and like touched the tree and were like listening to the trees and whatnot, and they were there a long time, like a
Mhm.
very long time, to
Is
the
that-
point where like the batch is like scouting it out, and then they're just like, oh, they're coming, and then everyone's like, all right, here's the deal, and that's the whole wait, the trees.
Is
What
this
about the
so-
is that a
Wookiees who have
good
like really bad listening skills? Like, I'm sorry, could you go again, Tree?
They're translating it for them.
somebody wants to insult a Wookiee, you don't say touch grass, you say touch trees. Go touch a tree. Go touch trees.
To bounce off that though, force
That's
sensitive
good.
tree, like that's one way. That's in the High Republic. That's the way that the Jedi Buri visualizes the Force is by
yeah.
picturing a tree and the roots and then reaching into the sky and whatnot. And so that's just like one of the ways that there's a big emphasis in the High Republic explaining the way that the different Jedi visualize the Force, like as like an ocean, as a song, as like a tree
Yeah.
with those like deep roots and whatnot. And so like it just goes back to like they showed Kashyyyk so well in this, showing how important it was with the natural world, and it was perfect. Like, and it was visually so good, and like it was so rich overall. It was a really good episode.
Yeah, Kashyyyk really shines. Just in general, every time it's on screen, anytime it's featured in any story, I love Kashyyyk.
Top
which
10
is why,
planet.
Yeah,
maybe.
I absolutely love Aftermath, Life Debt. I love the idea that Han Solo literally goes AWOL because the New Republic refuses to do anything about Kashyyyk, and literally him and Chewbacca just set out to liberate it on their own, and they pull it off with Leia. I mean, that's just so cool. I mean, that's like, I don't know, just some of the coolest stuff I've seen from the OT trio.
Yeah.
For Luke. Luke is nowhere to be found in any of this. In any of the Aftermath.
Busy
books.
looking
He's
for a
mentioned,
compass.
Like, twice. Yeah, he is.
Stop bothering Jedi Luke. He's busy doing Jedi stuff.
He's busy. You're right. You're right.
So next week, we're lucky enough to get 2 episodes. Episode 7, The Clone Conspiracy, and Episode 8, Truth and Consequences. Bum, bum, bum. They sound like little Halo chapters.
Yeah,
don't they?
I also like how much they just totally spell things out for you, like right away. Like, that conspiracy is going to be revealed, and there's going to be some consequences.
And there's going to be some clones and some truth.
Oh, really?
All right.
And the Bad Batch.
In the Bad
this episode,
Batch?
I tried to like see if there was another angle to the whole tribes thing, and
no.
This is exactly what it's going to be.
Stop reading into it.
I loved that though. I love how it just like, sorry, just to go back again, like I loved how like the moment Gunji saw the lightsaber like on that droid's back, he was literally like, oh, immediately. He did not hesitate at all. He was literally just like,
that belongs to
let
me.
me just
Yoink.
Sorry. But yeah, so that's on. Will they mention 5s next week?
No.
Oh.
No, why would they mention 5?
No,
the Clone Conspiracy.
Yes, I think so. I think so.
Really? Okay.
I guess. You've got it. That's a good point.
What are the betting odds?
I don't know. I like the 50-50s.
What are the betting odds?
30-1.
What are those numbers?
I don't know. I don't know how numbers work, so I can't.
I think those are decent odds.
30-1. I don't know what that means.
Well, someone in the chat must be good at betting. 1-1's as good as you can get, so 30-1 must be pretty good.
This is always the case where I want to pull out the exact ratio that C-3PO uses, but I never can remember.
Dude, I'm literally right now sitting here in my brain going 5,270.
Good bar trivia.
5,270? No.
The only reason why I want to say that I believe heavily that 5s will get mentioned during an episode called The Clone Conspiracy is because like the episode with his entire like last arc is called Conspiracy. They're not going to reuse the word conspiracy unless like
what happens? What happens if they do?
If they do, I get to say I was right. That's what.
I'm very confident we will see Crosshair next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Probably in both episodes. Yeah. I don't know if the Bad Batch will be with him because it seems like he's kind of just like on Coruscant, getting random missions here and there. But
I'd like to hope that the next 2 episodes include 2 stories of like what's going on with the Batch and what's going on with Crosshair this entire time, because I think that we've seen most of the stuff out of the trailer so far, aside from like the random shots with Rex. So I would assume that Rex is gonna call them next week and be like, "Guess what, guys?
Oh yeah,
I need you." And I think that it's gonna be that, and because Rex knows that entire deal.
Hey guys, you know 5s?
And Echo's like, "Yeah, I know 5s."
5s.
You guys know Consequences?
I got some truth for you.
Is this the truth?
Oh, you said it.
Literally, it would be like Echo knows 5s, so he knows the conspiracy. Hunter knows about the consequences because he's doling them out, and Tech knows the truth, and Wrecker's just like, what?
And turns out this entire clone conspiracy about where Kix is, actually.
So we'll see the Zillow Beast, I think.
Don't tempt. Oh man, that's what I really want.
That's the truth.
How can you have Palpatine just tease a kaiju and then never deliver A kaiju.
with the biggest grin of all time on his face, and then never follow up on it.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know.
That's the real loss from the like the lost episodes. There had
I
to be
really
a
want to
Zoldy's
see
episode somewhere there.
Yeah.
Mount Tantus, but I really don't think we're going to see it until the end of the season. Where
You don't think we're gonna
Yeah.
see it in Clone Conspiracy?
no, I think we won't see it until
Maybe.
the summit, episode 15.
I mean,
which is the
like,
second to last.
maybe like if something happens towards the end of these next 2 episodes, that's just like
be
someone
cool to
got
get, like, a-
captured, or there's
Yeah,
like
breadcrumb.
intel sent,
Yeah,
and it was like a shot suddenly of like Nala Se looking all sad, working in a lab. Like, sure, like maybe.
we'll get like a
But
2-minute, not even like 30-second ending shot of what's happening there, and then we won't see it till the end.
And then
That's-
Like White Walker style.
and then the sad music from The Price is Right plays while we see
Bum,
it.
bum, bum, bum.
She's just like working at the table, like sad, like oh man.
Once again, it was another amazing episode
yes,
score
Yeah.
from the Kiners.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Each episode has just been so
they've all been so
unique.
unique.
This one was very like Wakanda-ish, like with the
Yeah.
I don't know what the instruments they use are. I'm not a musician
Like
at all.
African style drums.
But like yeah, it was kind of like that little thing. And I was like, this is really cool. I really liked
Kinda
it.
Brothers.
They did the
Crushing
thing
it.
I want to talk.
that I really hate when people do it. It works, and I'm not saying it's wrong, but I hate it. It's when they do the thing with the violins where they just pluck them and so they make that sound that's like spiders on webs.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Because Dead Space does that a lot too. I've been playing the remake, and oh
It
god,
gets
every time
ya.
I hear it, I'm like, I pull out the flamethrower. I'm like, where are they? Where are they? And so it happened in this episode. I'm like, oh god, oh no, I'm watching Bad Batch. It's okay.
It was very good with the way that they like build the tension and whatnot. I got 2 pieces about that. First of all, where's the score? Usually they release score after 4 episodes, but whatever. I'm hoping maybe in a couple weeks they'll release the first half of the score. And then my other bone to pick, Lucasfilm, if you're listening, and I know you are, please put the behind the scenes content back on the blog. You did it for season 1, and you haven't done it once for season 2. I am clamoring for it. There's like a handful of us on Twitter who are just like, please just toss it up there. That's all that we want. Like, just toss it up there. I've noticed on the website right now, if you go to StarWars.com, the little icon is the Bad Batch skull. And I'm like, oh my God, they're doing something. But like, you gotta give me the extra content. Like, you did it last season. We know it exists. It's concept art and it's behind the scenes. It's lighting tests. It's breakdowns. Like that's it. I'm living off breadcrumbs here. You gotta give it to us. Sincerely, Jamie.
It's a good note. They'll hear you. I think they'll see.
Yeah.
this.
I hope so.
They did. They're
One
watching right
thing
now.
At them.
It's not just me. A lot of us are asking. So
Dylan brought up, and I thought about this while they were shooting the Trandoshans. They were set to kill. They were set to blast, not stun, right?
Yeah.
But they set them to stun when they shoot the clones, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they're still not quite sure what's going on there.
like 99% of the time, huh?
99.
I feel like there's been like a few moments they
Hey.
will use actual like blasts, like when Wrecker started using the cannon on like all of the other clones, and they were just like, all right, well, let's just throw it out the window.
Can't set that stun.
But like they will go into it stunning if it is with clones that they're shooting at. But meanwhile,
Shocking.
anything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
Does the bow kill?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would think
Yeah.
so.
An observation I had yesterday while I was watching this. We had blue blasters from the Bad Batch, red blasters from the Trandoshans, green blasters from the Wookiees, and purple from Omega. It was a colorful, like it was a light show. It was a light
Well,
show.
It was. It was a
It was
Disney
awesome.
light show.
It was great. I was like, holy
Of a
crap.
good night fight.
So that was episode 6 of season 2, Tribe.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone has any final thoughts on it, but great episode. Probably, I don't know, my second favorite episode of the season, maybe.
I would say so. Well, I would say so.
Yeah, the
I love
crosshair
seeing
one
Wrecker
takes-
amongst his people.
Oh yeah, of course. Wrecker with the
So
Wookiees
good.
was just
At
so
home.
good.
Record
So good.
down in moonshine, according to
He
you
was
guys.
so cozy.
Surprised he's
I
not
stand
fluent.
by it. He like kind of was at the end, but I think he was drunk. So
Yeah, it's just slurring the speech.
That's just him talking normally, James.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, it sounds pretty much like Wookiee.
the Wookiee next to him was just like, yeah, exactly. And
This guy gets it.
That's
Yeah.
the real reason why Tech is just like, okay, and just like walked away and went with Hunter to like translate, because he's like,
Isn't that like a Family Guy thing? They're like talking drunk and they're just like slurring their speech, but there's the subtitles.
I think
It's
so.
like that's a thing. But
It must be.
check that off your
When they
bingo
get, like
board.
super, super, super drunk on one episode or something. Maybe when they go to Ireland.
Hey, we did love Faster. Faster was a HoloNet Marauders classic.
Yeah.
We did marble racing on here and everything.
That's true.
Yeah.
That was a time.
Yeah.
That was a time and a half.
Oh boy. Yes, it was. Anyway, so this has been the HoloNet Marauders podcast for the Bad Batch. If you've been listening to the audio version, we have the cine video version as well. If you've been following along with us on the video here and on the stream, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for watching our little podcast. You can find us ever on social media at HoloNet Marauders. Put all the links are in the description down below. We will be back next week for more Bad Batch stream for episodes 7 and 8. It's 2 episodes next week. We'll be covering it in one because they release both at once. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time in the HoloNet Marauders podcast.